Agenda is the Recreation Sporting Hub at Puna Special Consultative Procedure. Jimmy Chen would like to move this. Would Vicky Buck like to second it? Are there any questions of staff on the proposal? There's obviously been a lot of work going to this, so I certainly was incredibly impressed with just all of the issues that were that are being dealt with in terms of how this has been put out, is going to be put out, hopefully. Yanni?
Wanted to really ask staff, I know the consultation is for 2 months, and I was just wondering whether there's any way to bring that forward and possibly get this a decision made by the end of the year, because I just am aware that there's a lot of sporting codes and actually the opportunities to get additional external funding. The longer we leave it, the harder it will be. So can I just ask if we could reduce the consultation by a month and try and get a decision made before the end of the year to speed this up?
Thank you, Councillor Johansson. Unfortunately, we have gone through and dotted our I's and crossed our T's as far as our legal obligations are. We're covering both the Reserves Management Act and also the Local Government Act. The Local Government Act requires us, of course, to do a minimum of 31 days, and the Reserves Act is a minimum of 2 months. We're exceeding that period by a couple of days either side, but essentially we're bound by those legal obligations.
So it's the Reserves Act that binds us, because I wondered whether 6 weeks, because we normally operate on a 6-week cycle, but that's local government.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Like, the consultation finishes on the 12th of December, and I know we'll be really busy, but because everything shuts down for like 2 months over that Christmas time, is there any opportunity to have the hearings in that week?
We have already had that discussion with staff around the availability of hearing dates. Unfortunately, there is nothing available until late January, early February.
Can we make something available? Yeah. Like, I mean, maybe it's a question for the
I mean, a number of us would be willing. You know, like we don't. I mean, we can work right up to Christmas. You know. Yeah.
I think we also need to be conscious that it will take a period of time to analyse those submissions that come back. If we get a large volume of those submissions, it may take us...
But it depends how many need to be heard, and that would then leave the whole of the period until end of January, February, beginning of February, to analyse the submissions, having heard the submissions. I tend to agree. I mean, you can hear both Councillor Johansson and Councillor Buck both, pretty adamant. If we can bring this forward, then I think we should try to. I mean, I don't know how many will want to be heard. You know, maybe we need to be a little bit flexible about that and say that. What you're hearing from us is that we're prepared to look at our diaries and work on making sufficient councillors available to hear submissions on this before Christmas.
Thank you.
Leanne, could I possibly ask a question of Peter Mitchell over the process if we change the proposed date for hearing now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Peter, if we agree to aim to have hearings in late December as opposed to late January, will that have any impact on the legality of what we're doing?
I shouldn't think so. It's just
No.
a question of in terms just accommodating. Again, depends on the other decision you've got. Yeah. I think until you've got that information, it's going to be hard to make a final decision. If the same principle that's what you're in.
So we're happy to investigate that option.
But it's the number of submissions that want to be heard that's the test. Yep. I mean, I imagine that there'll be quite a number of submissions, and several of them will say, "Get on with it," because I mean that's going to be the feedback from a number of the codes, that are affected, and the people who are part of those sporting codes. Okay. Yep.
One other way of speeding it up, if we approve it today, it takes about 10, maybe 17 days or 15 days before it goes out. Can we put it out earlier? Like
The reason that we've actually had a roughly 2-week window is to enable distribution to occur. There's a number of distribution channels we need to have that ready to go out, and it is. Once the document is approved today, obviously we'll be trying to get that out as quickly as we possibly can into the public arena. I guess we're obviously set a date of the 10th of October, being sort of the minimum time that we could do within sort of the distribution channels that we're able to get it out to.
Just, yeah, okay. Maybe we can, if we can bring it forward, we can still...
We intend to get the documents out as quickly as we possibly can.
Okay.
So if you can get them out earlier, you'll bring forward so that you sit within that 8 weeks?
We may be able to do that. We'll just
Yeah.
need to revise the documentation to make sure that actually is able to be
Every week we save at the end of the process gives us more time to consider it before Christmas.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
can we just have your assurance that we'll try and do the hearings pre-Christmas?
We will certainly investigate that and make every effort to do that,
Yeah, David?
if possible.
You are going to have some quite difficulties. Staff will have to pull all those together. One will close on that date. Then it is a public hearing, so you will have to put out an agenda. We'll have to actually schedule them. You're talking about 10 working days in that period for staff to pull all those submissions together, get a report together. We appreciate you want to do it as quick as possible, and certainly staff will go away. I legally think you might be struggling to fit it into that.
If you could get the date that it goes out back now, so that it's more quickly out, and we can, so that brings that date back into November, then holding hearings the week before Christmas, that whole week
All I'd
would
like
be
you to do
available.
is say, look, you'd like to bring it forward rather than say we must bring it forward. That's all, just so that we can make sure we comply with the legal legislation, and
Yeah.
so we can take that on board if that's
That's what
possible.
we've
Yeah.
done. We said we'd really like to bring it forward.
Yeah,
Very much.
so it's if we can, and we can do everything that we can at our end too. All right, so I will put the motion. Oh,
I just wanted to also speak in support of this, just to say thanks staff for the work that they've done, just to recognise that we spent a little bit longer trying to get this proposal right, because we actually recognise that at the start of a process it's really important. So I just want to applaud staff for the engagement with the AMP Association, and I think the council's really committed to working collaboratively with the sporting codes and the other users of this area to ensure that we get the best solution possible to really maximise the contribution. So, I just wanted to recognise those other partners that will be affected by this, and just say that, I appreciate staff have been working closely with those groups to ensure that we get the best possible outcomes that we can for the new potential use of this space. So I look forward to those submissions coming in, but thank you for the work you've done, and I'm really happy to support this.
yeah, very good. All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. The minutes of a meeting of the